Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Open Topics with Don Armando. Estoy bien, ¿y tú? ¿Y qué hay nuevo cultural? Nada, pero tú sabes, yo voy a preparar por un viaje para el crucero cultural y yo voy para Bahamas, pero tú sabes, viernes, mucha gente se van a celebrar en la fiesta o eso, pero aquí en Filadelfia no hay mucha fiesta, pero estoy quedar tranquilo, pero tú sabes, muchas cosas estoy haciendo en la calle, mucho muerto y, y pero y mucho vaina ocurrió en la calle hoy. Eso no, eso en Filadelfia no es parece, tú sabes, el ambiente en Santo Domingo. Hola Ramón, ¿cómo está? Oh yeah, of course, man. I mean, it is because here in Philadelphia, I don't really party much. So I'm just gonna have that blast in the cruise. Can't wait. Introvert Boricua, Ramon. Yeah, so I've heard in Dominican history. But for some reason, I heard that Anaconda had brothers. So they say that most Dominicans are like the descendants of her brothers or all the other tribes people in Quisqueya. So I don't know how true that is, but maybe one of these days when me and my sister take that DNA test, we could see what percentage of Native American from the Dominican Republic that I have in my blood. Bienvenido de mi canal, Ramón. ¿Cómo está usted?
Estamos bien aquí, papá. ¿Qué es la que hay? ¿Cómo está la cosa?
Yo bien, tú sabes, manzo en la noche hoy.
Ajá, ajá. Ah, no, nada aquí, después de un día largo, dando la vuelta. A ver cómo está
Yo
la cosa.
también, yo
Sí,
también.
sí. Y en cuanto al tema, vi el tema que tiene en del video. ¿Alguien te estaba porfiando o como que querías
Nah,
debatir?
pero
Ujú,
ayer yo estaba en el canal de Fighter y un fresco dominicano se dice, mira, tú no eres dominicano. Me dice, ok, tú tienes el recibo para decir eso. Y él dice, mira, yo
ujú,
conozco a mi gente, ok, mira, ven para mi canal y debate. Pero tú sabes, Fighter está hablando de la cosa, tú sabes, ah,
ujú.
tengo hispano y afroamericano para usar la palabra nigga. Y,
Ah,
y
sí, sí,
mucha
yo vi algo.
gente, y
Ajá.
mucha gente, tú sabes, está involucrado de ese político y la gente se dice, no te usan eso, te usan eso, y mucha gente hablando de la creencia en el barrio en Nueva York, tú sabes muchísimas cosas.
Ok, ok. Bueno, no sé, no sé. Yo no creo que alguien que sea de la isla vaya a tener mucho, así tanto problema contigo. Los hay que quieren ser los que representan y los que dictan identidad de alguien, pero no saben de lo que están hablando.
Sí.
Yeah.
Hola, ¿cómo estás, mis Zacarías? ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo está Armando y Román? ¿Cómo está?
Ah,
Ah, todo bien.
estamos aquí. ¿Cómo está la cosa?
Sí, es Zacarías, Zacarías, Locorías.
Ajá.
All
Bueno,
right.
bueno.
All right. So it's like this. Like I was up on Fighters channel because that's my brother since both
Mhm.
of our parents, like his parents and my parents, are from the same place. So
Okay.
apparently some dude when it was like, oh, you're not Dominican. I was like, well, why my father's buried in the Dominican Republic then? And then he's like, no, you're not. I was like, well, if you want, like I'm putting myself out right there. If you want to go and debate how, or if these guys really have some receipts, like come through. I mean, people could go and make bold statements. I want to see what evidence that they have in their minds that they could actually come up with. Oh, you're not this, you're not that, and I just want to hear it. Their arguments, even though I know it's
Oh,
futile already.
bro,
Hmm.
I deal with it.
So
I
I
deal
deal.
with it.
I've been dealing with it I've been dealing with it for like the rest of my life because even when I went to high school, there was like you're not Dominican and all this other stuff. But it was late. But the few Dominicans in that school that knew what I really was, they're still my friends to this day. But
Right.
you got certain people that will try to dismiss me as a faker and all this stuff. And now
Mm-hmm.
it's even so nonchalant that they're like, "Oh yeah, you're fake," because I guess, and I don't care what anybody says. Dominican Republic and Haiti, we're gonna go to war one day because of a lot of stuff. So, with that said, um, it is certain people will try to use mind games and try to gaslight other people, and
Mm-hmm.
it is really to the point that you have fellow Dominicans calling each other "vende patria" just because you don't agree with their opinion. But yet, while y'all going around and we're having all these public insults around each other, you're not making anybody stronger. So
That's true.
I don't see if you so passionate and everything like that, why don't y'all go and talk like regular adults instead of insulting and cursing at each other? Because at the end of the day, that's not going to resolve anything. And that might and the way that how the climate is with the internet, certain people might get hurt over it. And it's
That's true.
and it's to the point that I'm like, you going around, you fussing and everything like that, just to prove what? Like, state your options on why this person is this and that, right? Instead of
Mm-hmm.
you believing in your belief or your ideology, go and try to talk to the person and see why it is before you come around and try to insult that person. Because at the end of the day, all you're doing is insults and everything like that. And I'm like, at the end of the day, you're not going on to do anything civilly. Like, think about it. Imagine a Democrat or Republican, you're having a debate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, hey, you know what? You guys ain't did nothing. So F you, right? So
Mm-hmm.
basically, we're the common folk that we're supposed to be mature and everything like that. We're actually
Mm-hmm.
going around and insulting each other like we were back in high school. So I don't get it.
That's right. I was agreeing with you. Go ahead.
No,
Yeah.
but you don't have to prove anything. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. I mean, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. That's something that I also say to somebody like Maceo because he has a similar experience. Him
Mm-hmm.
being also from New York, I can only imagine what it must have been for somebody like yourself. I'm not trying to brag, but I hear you guys. I hear about you guys' experiences when it comes to identity, and all I can say is that I feel for you guys because I consider myself kind of lucky that I was born and raised around my people exclusively, so I didn't have to deal with anybody trying to question who I am. I mean, when it comes to my identity, and I
Right.
really wish you had more of the same experience. I mean, I have a my brother-in-law. To a degree, it's kind of like what happened with my brother-in-law. He's from the Bronx. I
Right.
mean, he's New Yorican, and he kind of has kind of like a little bit of animosity because of that. Because both of his parents are Puerto Rican, but he's born and raised in the Bronx, and there may have been at some point people questioning his identity, and that's why he has to be a little bit on the more. I mean, don't question my shit. I mean, don't come at me with that shit. I mean, we're gonna have a problem. And he had
I
to
mean,
really toughen up because of that. And something that
Can
I
I?
didn't have to deal with.
I want to mention
all right.
something.
Okay. Let's talk.
Okay, because Ramon, you look like the stereotypical Hispanic. You see what I'm saying? You're racially bigger. They look at Hispanic people as racially bigger. They look more close to the native side. Like if someone came to Texas, like you came to Texas, I think you live in Texas, right? But if let's say you live in Texas and Houston, they'll think you're Mexican. You see what I'm saying? Because they
Yeah,
used to.
that's exactly that's what I'm at. I'm in North Texas, and I'm around mostly Mexicans all the time. But nobody cares because so many of
No,
the Mexicans
but
here. Uh-huh.
let me finish.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right,
my bad. Go on, go on.
because black blood in this country is used for exploitation since our black DNA made this country rich without no papers, without no money. You see what I'm saying? So so he is not African American descent. I'm African American descent with Hispanic roots from Louisiana. Folks forget that this is one time Spanish colony, okay? Besides French and Irish and Native. People get mad when you don't go by master's rules. The black nationalist movement was paid by the Klan, like Nation Islam and Marcus Garvey, to keep anyone black DNA in a place and not come across the white side. You see what I'm saying? For oppression and be poor. So when they see Armando and they think that he's African descended, that's where this whole thing comes in, because people think Hispanics look like you. You know what I'm saying? They make sure they don't look black, they don't look white. This in the middle look more on the native side. Even though they got the paper genocide Native American people, meaning the white or the black side do have Native American root ancestry. Okay, and of course Latinos have Native American ancestry too. But the U.S. classification of race causes problem. And then I also want to apologize on my end. I don't do this, but there's some African saying men, because we're mixed. But I let you know who's Hispanic on my side. If I'm go to I over repeat myself. My forefather was a Real. It was changed to Rouse. He was born in Republic, which is born 1845 in Texas. That's Republican Texas. It was still slavery, okay, and before we became the Union. And his parents on the census said it's Louisiana. Okay, that's what the census say. So I'll let you know why I got Hispanic roots. I found out 2016. I've been speaking Spanish as a kid, and not kid as a child, but like in my teenage years. Okay, and when I learned Spanish school in Eastside Harris County and lived in El Paso, Texas, then I know I was a part of the Hispanic, heritage until 2016. I, paid college money, refund money, and working at Macy's, and did the genealogy from records and stuff. And I found out what is Real, and I found out it's a Spanish last name. I said, "Whoa, I'm part Hispanic all the time." So the difference is in New York back in the 80s, and I remember seeing this on Sages Raphael, on Ricky Lake. There was some African men who pretend to be Jamaican and Dominican. Because when they see Afro-looking Latino, they think either Dominican or Puerto Rican. You know what I'm saying? So either it's Afro-Mexicans in Mexico, they just overlooked at that, right? So that's why that since there have been some fake ADOS brothers in the past trying to use some money game, some sex game in the 80s and 90s, now we're in 2000s, and they probably still doing today. That's why we have this problem. Because Armando's not fake. He's a real Dominican. But here's some ADOS people, because we are mixed, but if you have the one drop rule and it controls your life and got people in the community using the black DNA, you post it like we fought for freedom. Why are we doing this? You know what I'm saying? That's why this man going through this. And just like me, you not mixed, you're black. Of course I'm mixed. Of course we're mixed. They use the black DNA to control us like we're a bunch of slaves on a plantation. We supposed to, after 1965, we supposed to enjoy freedom. We supposed to determine our own life. No one should be in our personal business, being business by trying to tell us what we cannot do, who we cannot marry. I'm like, You know what I'm saying? We supposed to have freedom. This will be a land of the free. But that's the reason why I see you, Ramon. No one don't know what Hispanic is. You in certain regions, like you're in Florida, you think you're Cuban. New York, think you're Puerto Rican. Of course, you are Puerto Rican, and they might think you're Dominican. Dominicans getting a big, population. So it's Mexicans down in New York City. The third largest Latino group the Mexican Americans are. Second is Dominican. In California, it's Mexicans and Salvadorans. They'll think that you won them, but when they see us, it's just two black guys, and they're American black guys. And of course, I'm an African American descendant. But I'm also have a Spanish mixture too from Louisiana, and I'm not gonna forget my ancestry for other people's, viewpoint. I'm gonna do what the hell I want to do. You know what I'm saying? So that's why.
Yes, and to me, it's like my background is very different from, I guess, a typical Dominican American, because I was raised down south because I was trying to tell my story, but the idiots that actually surround other channels or whatever the case may be will try to
Mm-hmm.
tell me that I'm fake just because they didn't go through that experience. Like, for example, remember that day that we were talking to Nat Measy, right?
Right.
And yeah, well, in that day, right, Nat Measy was repeatedly trying to call me an African American, right? But it was funny on how I shut him down. And it was to the point that he was like, "Oh, like he
Mm-hmm.
didn't know, he didn't know that I spoke Spanish. He thought that, oh, this guy's don't." And then we talked on the back channel before you and him got into that argument or whatever. He gave me some
Mm-hmm.
pointers, thing like that. So my thing is that you have certain people, and I don't know who he was trying to impress or anything like that, because let's keep it real. We don't know what this person, I don't even think it's a woman, blood wound actually
Boom.
looks like. Yeah.
And I don't
And
know. Go
and
ahead.
I spoke to her like when we was up in Fighters Channel and everything like that. She went up and
Mm-hmm.
tried to say that I speak Spanish like a Haitian. I'm like, okay, I know I don't speak it like a native Dominican. Yeah, I get that. I know I need to improve. But and the thing is though, the stuff that comes out of her mouth is very ignorant. Like,
Okay, who said that you speak like a Haitian? I missed that part.
Blood moon.
blood
And I don't
moon.
know why they keep
Oh,
bringing that
oh no,
person
no,
in.
no! But she was saying that to mess with you, just like just
Oh
like
Lord.
others are always questioning whether you're Dominican or not. But that's kind of like to mess with you because they can't prove otherwise. But if you know what your roots are and what your ancestry
Yeah.
traces back to, then that should be most important that you can confirm it. And if you can connect um, to your relatives on the island, that will be of great help. That will
Yeah.
strengthen that confidence in what your ancestry is and what your roots are. That's something that I would strongly recommend if you have the chance to do.
And
I
I want go
I
ahead.
mean,
I
I,
want to
I
elaborate.
would, but but then I
but the
mean,
Go
what?
I
ahead.
will, but then the thing is
Mm-hmm.
though, it's like, okay, it's not like, okay, in the Dominican Republic, that all right, yeah, my family, because it's like some of my family members are not internet literate.
Mhm.
The reason why I say that is because, like, for example, right, my mother and my father, right,
Mm-hmm.
like how certain people they'll be thinking like, oh yeah, they had internet. Yeah, I have pictures of them on the internet, but my mother, even till this dying day, was not internet literate. You know what I'm trying
Oh,
to
okay.
say?
Yeah, yeah.
It was like to the point, like, for example, when I was younger, when I was when I got on Facebook, you had people that went up and tried to tell her that I was posting porn or whatever the case may be. When the fact is, those people did not go and do the research and see that I am, and still within the music industry. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, what a person might think as porn is a chick, on a promo with a backside out wearing a thong, right? So they
Hmm.
post that on my page, and they're like, oh, yeah, this is for a party or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
No promotion.
with that,
Hmm.
with that said, people that don't know much, they're like, OMG, I didn't know that so and so was into porn. I'm like, what? Okay, yeah, I I do I am a man, and I have watched it.
Right.
Yeah,
But
one might check that out, but you're not gonna post something about it on
but but but,
Facebook. I mean,
but the thing
Yeah,
is
they
though
trying to
to go
harass him.
but the
I'm
thing
cut
is
you
though
off.
to go tell my mother that, oh yeah, you went up and posted porn. I'm like, okay, I had to go and tell her 3 instances of saying like, okay, first of all, it's like, for example, someone went up and told my mom, say, yo, so and so was posting porn. I had to go tell my mom in 3 instances. This is like around the 2010 through 2012. I was going through this, right? So,
My God.
like around 2010 or 2011, everybody had Facebook had a virus, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this virus was the porn virus, right? So what
Yep.
happened was, how I got the virus was I went up and I liked a chick that had an Asian chick, right? That had long hair all to her feet, and she was laying down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, nothing known that was anything dirty. You just thought it was a funny picture, so I liked it. The next thing you know, on everybody's page, it was hacked. It was hacked with women, with like naked women, women, with fecal matter smeared on them. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, right.
yeah,
What the hell?
it was how should I say it was just like a whole bunch of
Bestiality.
wonton of that too. It was like a whole
Yep.
bunch of wonton pornographic images like around that time. And then somebody went up and told my mother, yep, and it happened, I guess, for like a few days, I believe, or a week or something like that. So there was like, okay, what happened? I had to tell my mother, I'm like, yo, that Facebook was hacked. So I did not post that. What happened was I had to explain my mom in detail of what happened. And then my stepbrother, I just said he's my stepbrother because my dad was with his moms. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and I met him like around 2012, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
went there and Jose Alberto Canario was waiting in the airport. Aeropuerto de las Americas in the capital, right? So
Mm-hmm.
while I
Right.
was walking out, I went up and I said Canario. So me and him we chopped up a little bit before I went up and I met my dad. So after my time in the Dominican Republic, my step brother went up and posted something on my page, of a woman who was hairy down there. So basically, I just thought it was laughing and everything. How the heck in 2 weeks later, somebody went up and tried to tell my mom, "Oh, he's doing it again. He's posting porn." I was like, if people don't know how Facebook works, I did not post that. Somebody posted on my page. So I had to go around and tell my mother again in detail of what that person did. I thought it was funny. And this is the Facebook confusion that I get. And then they went up and they told my mother that I was posting porn. I'm like, would this ever
That's
stop?
harassment. That's a
It's
long.
not.
That's online harassment. And did you contact the FBI on that? You can go to the FBI
No,
website.
now it was like, okay, in the early days of Facebook. So therefore it was like, okay, it was family members, but there were
Yeah.
just I guess there was on my page too. But then there was like to the point that that they told my mother, because like how people in Spanish families, they like to talk and talk and talk, or whatsoever, because they got
Cheese
nothing.
that happens in African American descendant families too. especially down south.
Yeah,
They try to bring your family involved, your adult business, and it's like, you're grown. Like they trying to start some drama. You see what I'm
yeah.
saying?
So
That it can happen in Adolph Southern. I don't know about northern families, but I know in southern families, because it's very conservative down. So you used to live in the south. That's why. Yeah, that happens down here. I mean, that's why I'm private with my own family. You know what I'm saying? My family
I
toxic.
mean, like,
You see? That's sad.
I mean,
They should. You should.
it's like to the point. It's like to the point, right? That after
Mm-hmm.
my mother passed, I hate to say, but everything stopped because nobody gonna you have nobody to tell, and now you know what I'm saying. And
Mm-hmm.
most of my family, aside from me, fighting for my apartment or whatever the case may be, I didn't go and post most of my personal struggles online. You know what I'm saying? I dealt with it myself. So
Same here.
well, it was to the point that certain people, they wanted to try to get into my business, and you have certain people to this day that are trying to get into my business. On my last stream, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
was actually talking to when I actually had my last stream, and I was talking to Ramon, and it was George. Now, which was funny is that my ex was around there. So
Oh
I had to
Lord.
block. Yeah, it was not the ex that went up and did me wrong after my mother passed. It was my ex that I was with for 7 years because she was African American and Cherokee. Because her
Okay.
grandfather told me that, right?
Right.
So before he passed away. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever the case may be, right? She was calling, she was putting my government name right there, saying, "If you
Mm,
see me." Now, remind you, I haven't talked to this woman since 2016. Because I could say I might be partly blamed to it because I gave her a laptop or something, but it's like shit. It was like she was normal, but then it was a shift, and she just started getting into a mania or whatever, and she's been like
Mm-hmm.
that ever since. So she's been like that. I feel for her, but at the same time, I had to move on. So she was going,
Mm-hmm.
calling me out my government name and everything like that. Putting hard eyes and everything. And I'm like, don't you know that I'm a married man? I'm like, geez. Like people, I'm like, dag. I understand that to some women I'm good looking, but geez, I'm a married man.
Mm-hmm.
That's closed.
That's
I don't know.
harassment.
It's like you see a lot of people with hidden agendas. You know what I'm trying to say? And
Yeah, I know.
nine times out of 10, I see a hidden agenda or something behind it. Like say for instance, I came back from a honeymoon in my job, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there was an HR lady right there, whatsoever. So
Mm-hmm.
before anything, before I got married or whatever, I have a friend, right? And his wife was working there. So his wife happened to hurt her arm or whatever. So I was like, so I came in, because we're friends and everything like that, on the job. I was like, is everything okay, amiga? You know what I'm saying? I said it in
Mm-hmm.
Spanish. So when me and the woman was actually speaking in Spanish, the HR lady at the time was shocked to hear me speak Spanish. She was like, "Oh, I didn't know you spoke Spanish." I was like, "Yeah." So from that to to my former supervisor's funeral, and to the point that I guess that I got married because
Mm-hmm.
I have some of my supervisors right there, so therefore I don't really post nothing about my job or anything like that on my Facebook.
Right.
So she went up and I sees that she saw that I got married. So she went up and asked me, "So you're a married man now?" I was like, "Yes." But it seems that when she went up and asked that question, she was disappointed that I got married. You get what I'm trying to say? So, and the thing is though, she did that to another coworker as well. So we was talking. We was like, yeah, the way that she was saying it, she felt like there was something behind that. You know what I'm trying to say? It wasn't just like you just asking a question like, "Hey, Ramon, nice car." You know what I'm trying to say? Nothing to think about it. But
Right.
it was like, "Hey, Ramon, nice car."
Hey,
Like
I
you
will
know,
be running away from you.
Yeah, being
You
being
talk to me
spiteful.
like I will be
I know
like,
exactly.
you need to get away from me.
Exactly.
Yeah, you talk to me like that, I will be getting the wrong idea. But I know, you're talking about.
Right.
I know. You're talking about a woman trying to talk a little too low to you, to kind of too cute and
yeah, I was like,
seductive.
That's
Like,
sexual harassment on her end.
I was,
yeah.
You
If
gotta
he's in
pay.
a position,
but,
if she's in a position superior to you, yeah, that's harassment. It works
it
both
could be
ways because
It
women
does.
are very quick.
it could be a harassment, but then the thing is though, you can't really say it's harassment unless she uses certain words. You get what I'm
Mhm.
trying to say? Like
Yeah,
for
but see,
example,
but then Don Armando, what's gonna happen is she's the HR lady. Some of these
right,
women that do
right.
that mess, they abuse their power. And since do you have a problem at Will's Law in Philadelphia? That's what I'm saying. Yeah, be careful. So it's best to start
Yeah,
some writing or tell her boss not to ask questions whether you marry or not, because that got nothing to do with. She need to work on her trying to keep her the company good and make
I
sure
mean,
all her personnel is in professional. She ain't
I
asking.
mean, she actually that HR lady went up and she left the company,
Thank
right
God.
afterwards. But and it is what it is. But the whole basis, what I'm trying to say is that there's certain ways that you could actually say stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So she would say stuff like, because we all friends on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? She added me and whatever, and my other HR added me. So it's like we
Oh
just laugh at
Lord.
the jokes. We just laugh at the jokes and stuff. But I never post anything about where I work at or anything like that because of other issues that happened like in my past. You get what I'm trying to say? So
Right,
therefore,
but I
I'm just
wouldn't. Yeah.
I'm just like the joking guy on Facebook mostly. So, or I just post something that is educational. So what happened is, everybody in my job, they knew that I got married. So, they were saying congratulations and everything like that. So
Right.
therefore, I didn't really catch on to it until I actually thought, I was like, hold up. She was saying something right there. So it wasn't like, okay, like something subtle, but then when you actually go and analyze it, it was you felt like there was something back of it. But yet you can't really go around and say, yeah, that's harassment. Because, it's
I
like, okay, you posted it online, you happy, whatever. It is the
mhm.
case. You get what I'm trying to say? But like if
Yeah.
somebody said, oh, like down you married, and then if they went up and they came up and said, oh, I'm really willing to date you. Now that's harassment.
Well, see, the reason why I'm saying it because she should never ask you in that manner because it does say jesters. See, sexual harassment does include jesters. The way you look at certain people and certain jesters and how you say it, and that can be interpreted because that ain't her business. And you grown man. I wouldn't put no head people. This is why I like to work for myself. I wouldn't. No, I ain't bash you. I wouldn't put people that I work with, especially those who got authority. Because I don't know how it is in Philadelphia and other states, but I know in Texas we have a shithole. Because on your panel, um, people that work at dang, it's repeating. Um, People that work at jobs, and that's why like people say, "Why you don't work?" I work for myself because a lot of trauma, besides racism, and all the other isms, it's a lot of trauma, a lot of competition, and is let's say she was in Texas, y'all was in Texas, and she was a shitty ass. Cause it's okay to say that. It's okay to say that.
Yeah,
It's okay to say that.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, as
Yeah,
I
you
want to
can say
respect
that.
your um God, it's repeating. Okay, she went she has HR, and she was in love with you, and then she found out you married. What she would do is trying to find out any errors or watch your behavior or defame your character on paperwork to get you fired because she can't get her way. You see what I'm saying? And that's that in these apartment at
I
will
mean,
states.
I
That's
mean,
because of taxes. People say, why you don't no, it's a lot of trauma. You mean your life expense, your life the expenses go out the drain due to some shitty ass employers and HR people. I'm being real with you. And that's why I prefer to do entrepreneurship because
right,
in Texas, I'm speaking from Texas. I don't believe it's in Philadelphia up north, but I mean, Ramon will get here into this coming from Puerto Rico, Texas. Texas not a good place to work. I have a relative that's in the law not law enforcement but in the legal field. And he told me that back in '98 after I graduated high school when McDonald's did me dirty. Okay, so and that's why I'm trying to go to New York because you have labor unions in New York. Okay, so that's why. But
right.
no woman or man, they see something they prey on what to eat. Okay, and they can't get their way. Here they are trying to send their goons on the company, look at what you're doing, trying to add your own Facebook, social media, and something you don't agree with. It doesn't go along with the company. That this is I've worked for different companies since I was a kid, start 15 years old. And that's why I'm just letting you know on head. So I'm glad she left the company. But bro, I'm telling you, she know your business and she can't get her way. She'll try to make you lose your job. And that's why I said when she said the way she came after you and said that you married, like she wanted you the whole time, like she gonna use her power. Because these women, see, they did us men doing that mess. These women, I'm not trying to bash no women up here, but some of these damn women are now doing
Yeah.
that to me. You know what I'm saying? And
I
it's about
mean,
time.
if, I mean, if you
Shoot.
actually look at it, right? They
Mm-hmm.
actually, it's like, I guess with time, because you got certain men, you got certain women who have ulterior motives, and
Mm-hmm.
in my job, I guess that you have certain individuals that it's like okay, like in the place where I work at, I just go into work and I just go home, right? But then you have
Mm-hmm.
some men that that they still have the immature mindset. I say when a new woman comes in or whatever the case may be, they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" They're trying to get with her and everything. So I was talking to my colleague who I'm good friends with, right? So me and my
Right.
colleague was actually talking, and he was pissed off at it. He was like, I come here to work, and that's it." These women were telling him that all these men in my job were trying to, get with her and everything like that. I'm like, okay, well, to me, it's this. Like, after 2013, I began that it's pointless, like in any field, to try to get with anybody with with my job and stuff. It's like it's bad enough that you have to work with certain people. You have to go and take that person home too. You know what I'm trying to say? So
Right.
my thing is that you have certain people that they still have like the high school mindset of yeah, and they're like 40 years old. It's like yeah, I went up and I did this and did that. The next thing you know, if their relationship don't work out, they have like a baby or whatever, and then but oh this F and B and everything like that. And I'm like, okay, so therefore let's put it like this. Um if you want to have to procure women for you to have fun and everything like that, and and if that female is on that same page, okay, you find a female like that. But please don't go around and try to do that in your job because at the end of the day, if you lose your job over your bad performance or your good performance or whatever you did like in your private life, you turned that chick crazy or that chick got some good new and then after that you turn crazy. I, in my 3 years in the job, I'm just gonna say this. because I'm not going to go and say the company that I work for. But in my 3 years at this job, right,
Mm-hmm.
I have heard and seen so much crap, and I was on some crap too for women or situations involving women, domestic abuse
Mm-hmm.
whatsoever since my time on the job. So my thing is that that's why I keep to myself. And if anything, I'm with my wife. So therefore,
Right.
nobody would even though I see that certain people they have whatsoever. Like within the Spanish culture, a woman knows once you say you married, you ain't gonna try to get with me. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like maybe 50% of my job is no, I'll say like maybe 45% of my job is Latinos. You know, you
Mm-hmm.
got some Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, two Colombians, one Honduran, and then the rest are Dominicans that don't really speak English like that. And then you have the African Americans.
Mm-hmm.
You have like maybe two white girls, and then you have upper management that they're all professional whatsoever. And
The
then
white.
you have I mean white, black, Chinese whatsoever, they're all
Okay, got you.
professional. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. Mm-hmm.
And then you have um and then you have like maybe one Asian female. I mean, who is just a worker like I am, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like you know, there's certain stuff that you hear, and there's certain stuff that certain conversations that women be having. I just don't really be involved with that because as soon as I hear something that alludes to bodily fluids or whatsoever the case may be, I just have if I have my headsets on, I just go there and I just listen to my stuff. Or
Mm-hmm.
like say in the right way of like if it's my lunch and then my wife calls me and her will be talking. So in that case, that's why I don't try to be the outgoing guy because I just try to sit myself like in a corner and if people talk to me, we talk. But as far as me being the outgoing guy and trying to say, hey, let's go out for I'm not that person because in my near my job, there's a bar.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't go there because I don't really drink that much because of my medical condition, which I'm not
Right.
gonna really disclose, but I do have a medical condition.
Mm-hmm.
So and I only drink like maybe certain times or whatever, but I don't really try to drink like that when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
So so this bar, I could tell you that here in Philadelphia, it's actually infamous for shooting. So
Ooh.
yeah. So when I was working my other job before I got to this one, right? I was having a lift, this is before pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
You just get like into a joint lift with people. Y'all just ride out and they just pick up people. So it's just like a shared lift, right? So
Mm-hmm.
while I was shared lift going to my humble abode, this is well, I think it was a white guy, but then again, you can't really tell anymore. It was some white guy, and he went up and he was running out of this bar, and he told the driver, "Get out of here!" Like, yo, let's just go, because they
Mm-hmm.
just started shooting the bar.
Ooh.
Ever, ever, they started shooting in the bar. So ever
Mm-mm.
since that day, I don't mess with bars in Philadelphia in general because you have certain people that don't know how to handle their liquor, or there might be a street beef that you're not really in. The next thing you know, you're gonna see a good old shootout like the OK Corral, and 9 times out of 10, they're not using. they're not using 9 millimeters. They're using some high powered stuff that would actually cause a lot of blood stains.
You sure right
So,
about that?
so with that said, I don't need to be around that.
Can I?
So,
Oh,
so,
go
and people were talking about, yo, this bar has a lot of women. Okay, I passed that.
ahead.
So why would I go to a bar which has a whole bunch of beautiful women, right?
Right.
And then the way that certain Philadelphia guys are is very stupid. And this is what and this is where it goes to my next problem that I had in the job. Okay,
Mhm.
I had a problem with the guy that he was a total dick. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I'm reading
And
the story.
yeah,
The
yeah.
brother, the African American brother, was trying to use you to get those women on the job.
Nah, the guy that was mad because there was a female that liked me on the job. He wanted to
Oh,
get with, but then he wanted to start beef with me. Now,
oh, okay. The one you cut. So you told us the one you cussed out in Spanish.
no, there was one that I did curse out in Spanish, but that was in Union. That was in Union City. This
Okay,
was
man.
different because this guy
Yes, sir.
had a bad way about him, and he always wanted to start fights with people, and people was really riled up, and they wanted to knock his block off. So,
Damn.
with that said, the whole origin of the beef between me and this individual was just
Mhm.
because a female that don't understand English that well, and and I guess he was, he couldn't read. He had certain people to go around and help him with, his, just to get the job or whatever. But whatever the
Mhm.
case may be, he went up and was very envious of me just because this woman used to stare at me. And I never really paid attention because I'm here for work. I'm not here to
Right.
get females or anything. And even if I was single, the female only had one attribute which guys always talked about. So with that attribute, the Nicki Minaj or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So since everybody used to talk about this attribute and used to say all this stuff, me being the guy that I am, and I've dated certain women in my life, I know that I should not settle for less. So why the heck I'm going to settle for less just because a female might have a big apparatus, but yes, she has nothing in her mind. So with
Chill
that
3
said, yeah. So after a while, that woman left the job, but yeah, he wanted
Mhm.
to start problems with me just because I guess I was advancing in life.
Damn. Like I say, I ain't trying to bring no synergy energy, but I guess the dude was dusty. Hello.
I
Yeah.
see that you watch
No, but no, but I don't agree with her
Right.
generalization as a brother myself. But
it. Yeah.
some of these dudes fit the stereotype and they make us brothers look terrible. Whew. As I believe in being individualistic and not be collective, because people it paints one brush and you gotta scream louder and say I'm not like that. But no, with Armando, I can figure out the dudes at the bar looking at them thoughts at the doggone bar and it's shooting. That's why I was gonna ask you the question. I'm gonna cut you off. Was this bar in the hood?
I don't. It's like we're working. This is working class, but then I guess I guess it's still the hood because you got fiends walking around. Ever
Oh
since
yeah,
the
that's the
pandemic.
hood.
Yeah, it's the hood now because it's like okay, I guess it's the hood for some people, but then it's like I don't really. It was like before that, there was only one section that you saw all the crackheads or whatever, all the crackheads and fentanyl addicts. But now you see, all the heroin addicts, like in all over Philadelphia. So you don't know which is the hood or what is a good place because all these addicts is just lying around shooting up.
Damn, that's how it is in Philadelphia?
Yeah, ever since the pandemic. Because in Kensington, I live like maybe 20 minutes away from their area, right? That's Zombieland City. Meaning when I
Like
came out
Skid
here,
Row.
like, it's Skid Row, but it's Skid Row times 10.
Oh, gee,
Whoa.
I thought Houston was working with that Kush. Lord have mercy.
Nah.
You know why Houston Kush?
That joint is Skid Row times 10. Imagine walking zombies around. Just been like this. People keep telling me that's been like this forever, right? So what happened is that ever since the pandemic, it's got worse. All those addicts that was in that area called Kensington, they're actually all over the place right now. Meaning that just the other day, it was like 2 or 3 months ago, Mom, there was a guy that that he was dehydrated and stuff and fell out in the crib and everything. You know what I'm saying?
Oh Lord.
So my mother-in-law, being the Christian that she is, she went up and had us, gave him some made a sandwich and everything like that just to make sure that he was all right and everything. Because he was out and he just fell and the guy just fell out, I guess for dehydration and cracked his head. A little bit, you know what I mean? So
that's sad. And the man not doing nothing?
And it was like we just looked. I was like, yo, I just went up and got my mother. I'm like, yo, like let's just see if he's all right and stuff. We saw he was all right, but he had a little gash on his head and everything. So
y'all call the ambulance on to come pick him up or something?
We I guess we tried, but we just like he was out of it and stuff. So it was like I guess he had family around that area and stuff. I guess he was going there, but then whatever he was, it was just sad because it was just a young dude. You know what I'm saying? Younger than I am.
I gotta ask you a question.
And then,
all right. That's all right.
And then, there's some places that, like, say, if I go back to New York and visit it, some of my people and everything like that, it felt like I never left Philadelphia or New York because it's like the same thing. Like up on 42nd Street, you got a whole bunch of addicts waiting and people sleeping in the streets over there too. So I'm like, what gives?
But can I ask you a question? Because I was homeless. I never done drugs, and my record's clean. By the way, I lost. My story. I lost my apartment, and also the manager, the last apartment, the one that from the city of Chicago, Arcade from, she stole money from the Floyd family. Yeah, okay. That was my manager when the last time I got evicted, 2018. Not my current one. Okay. So when I was homeless, it did take a while for us to get housing due to the pandemic. And I thought we was mad at Mayor. I mean, I was mad at Mayor turning around on the street because majority of the people, other cities gave homeless people hotels. But they gave us, instead of giving us hotels, they gave us apartments. And now, and like I say, we have, I'm not gonna tell where I stay. Our apartments have crime. And some other apartments have the list of apartments they gave us in 2006, 2021, and 20 was like they could take anybody because certain apartments, if you had evictions, if you had records, I don't have a record, my record clean, and they'll take you in, and they gave us the worst ones. So That's what we're going through now in Houston because a lot of the apartments that they gave are having crime, mold, mildew, rats, roaches. You probably saw that Dr. Candace Matthews, the sister, a bright skin Creole sister. She been going and confining the apartment managers and how they do people, keeping folks out. Yeah, that was going on right now because now they see that the landlords, not all landlords, but many in Houston, that's what's causing the homeless. They taking money, they kicking people out at Sturton Share Apartments. They reported the people that when the Kenneth Matthews and Greasy Hood dudes came over there and exposed, and the city of Houston got involved. The managers were trying to get the CPS on the people who reported in retaliation, and then now they went to Austin. No, today they went to Angel Ridge Apartments, and it was a Latino dude. He was a sex offender as the manager. They got him already out of the apartment complex, and they try to kick Miss Denise Matthews. Why is it Denise Matthews? That's Vandy. Candace Matthews out the property. And she said she gonna have that place closed because their sex offender should not be working as a manager over in Northeast Houston. So that's what's going on in Houston. So the reason why I brought that up because who is the politician not to bring a Republican versus Democrat, but they supposed to get them addicts, get the homeless people out during the pandemic. They ain't supposed to have nobody out on the street. Like I was no longer homeless. I was shocked to see people still on the street. You know, some people did reject the apartments. I don't know why, you know what I'm saying? But they supposed to have given hotels, cross nation, housing, because if the pandemic rise again, because we still, I don't see how people trying to forget. We still got the monkeypox and COVID-19 going on. They got another thing going on. They trying to kill us for real for population control for Satanism. The truth of the matter is, if they don't get these folks out of the dark on the streets, it's gonna still pass. Cause what that person on the street has a COVID-19 and you're going somewhere some other disease. They not looking at that. It's being arrogant and evil on these politicians, whether Republican or Democrat doesn't matter. They need to be voted out if they're not caring for the homeless. Cause one day they're gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? They gotta understand they can lose their house in an earthquake or a hurricane and they might be on the street. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these folks gotta realize because I'm shocked that the cutoff bit. I mean, I'm a Southerner, so I'm always thought that New York, LA, Chicago, even though they have their problems, Philly, they're at least more advanced than here in Houston. And I'm shocked that it's that worse. It's like the On the Bridge song that Red Hot Chili Peppers was talking about.
I mean, let's put it like this,
Mm-hmm.
and this is like a brief history. What a
Yes,
lot of
sir.
people on how hip hop actually came, which is actually from the South Bronx, is
Right.
that when people lived in burnt out apartments because certain people, because certain politicians didn't want to give like black or Hispanic communities anything. This is how hip hop came, and you have certain
Mm-hmm.
people that that they even live in New York, like certain individuals, which I'm not going to name because they're idiots. The same idiots that they want to propagate the Hispanista theory. So the ones who want to propagate the Hispanista theory, right? They want to try
Mm-hmm.
to paint Washington Heights and all the other neighborhoods that mostly Hispanic people live in as,
Mm-hmm.
hey, this is a nice and peachy area. No, it's not. Um, no, for real though, I'm telling you, no, it's not.
They do that here in
Because
Houston.
no, but the thing is though, this is what I'm trying to say. Like,
Uh-huh.
if you're Puerto Rican or Dominican, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like now with Dominicans and Puerto Ricans in New York, it's like 9 times out of 10 you will know somebody that got incarcerated. That's how bad it is. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like okay, you want to try to put something peachy like, yes, me and my family, we're actually hardworking guys that we actually went up and paid for the American dream. and now we're rich. No, it's not like that. First of all, it's like with the Dominican, and I'm talking as a Dominican American,
Mm-hmm.
and it actually goes within our respective music movements or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it now that out of everybody that you know who is a hood Dominican or not, you will have like maybe one or two relatives that went to jail,
Right.
and that's or a friend or somebody that got shot or killed or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. So therefore, if your neighborhood is so peachy and it's so nice and everything like that, and you're like, oh no, I don't hang with the criminals. They're the ones that that's bringing down the your way of life. So therefore, how the heck you could go around and try to paint your neighborhood as a nice happy place when the fact is Ramon, I'm sorry not to use your name introvert Boricua, but I'm just saying like in general. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah, like Ramon over there got arrested for being a drug kingpin and now he's getting deported.
The same thing here in Houston because you have on Facebook when an African American brother comes on, like gets arrested, and I'm not going to defend the criminal trashy brother that's doing that or sister. You hear the conversation on Facebook, didn't do nothing, and kiss up to white supremacists and saying that I know who my daddy is, and I went to Bonoma Hispanic school, mostly Mexican, right? And there were a lot of baby mamas. Just like in the sisters, it was sisters who baby mamas. You know what I'm saying? Back in white girls baby mamas too. You know what I'm saying? Back in the 1990s. So how the hell all of a sudden, oh, we got a job. People still dirt and still get jobs. I know people who criminals who got jobs. You know what I'm saying? They always paint that picture because like they say, Hispanistas, we got that too. With a lot of, and like I said, mostly, we have other Latinos here, but mostly Mexicans, especially Chicano ones, okay, Tejano ones, and they will paint this narrative. But I went to school. If I found any of those folks I was school with, that I bet through, I could tell you who they were cholo thugs. They was out there committing crimes back in 1990s and early 2000s. Oh, I went to jail. I changed my life. Now I clean. I became a Christian. Oh, but don't cook up black people are bad. They have a single parent home. They don't want to work. They're on welfare. I used to work for Texas Health and Human Services as a temp, and I worked in the body of the same time when Michael Jackson died, and it was a lot of Latinos on welfare. You can still work and get when I was working, I was still in the system. They deduct your benefits. You see what I'm saying? When I worked, I didn't get a high paycheck. I wish I did. I wouldn't be right. And they deduct your payments. You know what I'm saying? And you just have to report. If you don't report, that's against the law. That's revenue fraud, right? So you have people that will say, I'm not on welfare, but you have Latinos on welfare. You have Latinos that live in it. I mean, this funny. You go on social media and you find out where they live at. They in the southeast side. Before the Arlene Alvarez case, southeast side was dangerous. This is where Kim Org, the DA here in Harris County, the white lady, she used to help out with Latinos who were gang members in the southeast side in the 1990s. Charles, the white passing his Latino dude, they used to be on the talk show in New York, Charles Perez and Gerardo Rivera. Kim or been on those shows. I've been watching. They had the gangster girls and cholo girls, and I don't know how they pick Houston. I thought it'd be like LA or Arizona or New York or somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Chicago. They picked Houston back in 1990s, and they hit the Southeast baby dolls. And if I see end up saying anything about anti-black stuff, I'm gonna show them that I remember them on Charles Red show back in '94. Okay, and Kim Orr was the anti-gang task. Now she's the Harris County DA now. And these they had the folks that got shot from Pasadena, Texas. You know what I'm saying? From out there in southeast side, in the south and southwest side too, in Greenspoint. And now all of a sudden they have a job, they work on white people. The amnesia is, well, I clean up my life, or I'm not out there committing crimes. we're married. My kids know my father. I'm the father. And there's like, well, there's African American people who are married too, and it's African American people who know their father too. You know what I'm saying? And they paint this image, and when you find they're from the north side, the south side, the east side, they're from those areas where it's mostly Latino. They live in a barrio hood. Like, okay, she live in a white neighborhood. Yeah, I can see that. When I was home and staying in West University in nice homes, they can talk. Well, there's no one should be racist. But if I found they was living in the barrio, living in Fifth Ward, Third Ward, South Park, you know what I'm saying? Dang, I'm in all neighborhoods, all the hoods. They live in North Side where Jose Ford was killed. If I find that out, they talking that drama, I'ma laugh because they grew up that time period when the gangster lean was big. You know what I'm saying? When they had, thugs and cholo thugs and me be a local and thug life with Tupac and Shakur, you know what I'm saying? And American Me and Boys in the Hood. They grew up in that time they market to us minorities because they were trying to get us be future prisoners. You know what I'm saying? That's the secret meeting. Okay, they had 91 in California. I don't see how the hell did this amnesia come in when Ackerman saying people can Fox News do this mess. But at the same time, we can look at the Latino community and like I said, I'm part Hispanic, I'm not trying to bash, but don't be bashing my Adolf Smith for one, because of Pookie Ray Ray. We see the same Pookie Ray Rays in the Latino community. They've been locked up, you know what I'm saying? They've been in out of jail.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure that there have been. Yeah, I'm sure that there have been some that are Hispanics and they have been in trouble too. I mean, me being from the island, that's something that I saw regularly. I mean, guys from the projects that will be involved into the trade, trying to sell some substance in the streets, and that's usually what the street shootouts in the projects were about. It's never been. The difference is that it's never been like a real gang thing, organized gang where they will have names and they will identify with colors and they will be doing hand signal shit. I mean, it's not so much like that on the island, but yeah, that is crime. That is, and they get targeted by the authorities, and they have their shootouts, and one crew from this project gets into a beef with a crew from these other projects, and they will be trying to shoot at each other, but that's to moving into territory. It's all about territory, drug spots. It's not so much about like so much of a gang thing. It's more one crew from this location beefs with this other crew from this other location over territory. So all the conflicts and all of the shootouts, the war, the gang. It's not gang per se like it is out here. It's not the gang.
Yeah.
It's more of a street trying to survive, being in the drug trade, and one group is trying to overdo the others. That's something that it's part of growing up on the island. So I mean, nobody's saying that we don't do bullshit, that we don't do dirt. I mean, but yeah, I hear what you're saying when it comes to in the context of the mainland United States. Then it starts to become about one ethnic group trying to make the other ethnic group seem like they are better than one really is. But so no, but I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
I be laughing too when I see the comments like they say they do nothing and saying parent home. When every time a brother gets locked up or a sister, they start making the comments in a section with the white people. Same time the same white people they kick it in with. I want them over the wall. You know what I'm saying? So I laugh at that. And like I said, I went to predominantly Latino school and mostly Mexican descent. And I saw that not everybody was cholos. Don't get me wrong, I want stereotype, but it was big when the whole gangster lane with Tupac and Biggie and American Me and Blood and Blood Out. That I don't forget they were marketing to Africans and Hispanic people to get locked up. Okay, and I remember seeing, I mean, Astroworld, not Travis Scott Astroworld, Six Flags Astroworld had a bunch of gangsters, both Africans and Hispanic, you know, from all type of sides. That's why they had to be careful back in the day. We had the music park Astroworld before it got closed down by Six Flags. And I remember I didn't want to go. I wanted to go to Astroworld in the 90s, but I was afraid. You know, I went in '85 with my other church when I was a kid, but I didn't go to Astroworld as much because I was living with grandparents, and sometimes my aunt worked, my dad. Okay, well, I never her brother, my dad. Point is, but I'm gonna bring the other point is that I didn't get a chance to go to Astroworld as an adult and as a teenager. I wanted to, but my homegirls, one of my homegirls was Mexican American descent. Well, actually, her family from Mexico. She's not Chicana. And she assimilated, her and her brother assimilated. When they left the Catholic school, they went to our school and started becoming a gang culture. And she told me when she was beating some dude, some Latino dude, or I think it was a white dude that she was talking to, whatever, he represented another gang with the Latino friends, and they was afraid to hang out because she with her brother and his gang, and then there was the dude, the white dude that was in our area was in the gang with dudes from Pasadena, Texas. And if they saw each other, there'll be a beef, you know what I'm saying? Because she liked him, you know what I'm saying? And it was a big beef. And I remember people saying, yeah, at the parking lot, when you cross that bridge, you remember in Houston, Texas, a little bridge coming from the other side, they used to go to the bridge across 16 to go to Astroworld. Not Travis Scott. This is a real Astroworld, okay? The music park, Six Flags. And they said that parking lot, they said it was big, people from all different types of hoods. Back in the 90s, don't forget this shit. They told me, all top people told me, they said it about to be a fight, it was shootouts, and be security. I said, nah, I'm not going to Astroworld until everything gets settled. So that was going on, but no, it's not the bash Latinos anything. It's like, if you can't talk, you know, someone can't talk when it's just things too. You see what I'm saying? And that's what exactly I see what Armando was saying about Hispanistas, because we have that mess here. When you go to the comment section, I'm not lying. All they gotta do is Channel 13, Channel 2. Oh, that's your mic. Yeah, Channel 2, all those news stations here, they post a brother, especially if it's towards a white person, there's a victim or like that. Here, sometimes another person in y'all's community. Here we go. They didn't do nothing, and F Black Lives Matter. They come not at first get offended by that, but I'm like, Latinos get shot by police. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the big difference is that it doesn't talk to about so much in the media. I mean, they might at least when it happens to Black Americans, those get talked about more when it comes to the news, when it comes to the media. But when it happens to Hispanics, my fellow Hispanics, then a lot of the times it's very difficult to get a hold of the information. I mean, you might have heard it from people that knew the victim actually. So that's kind of like the big difference. So it's not like it's not happening to us. It's just not being talked about so much. So
I'm like, this is my beef with some Republicans, right?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Can't hear you.
Hello?
I can't hear you.
Armando.
All right. As I was saying, the thing is though, is that with
You had said beef with some Republicans.
Yeah, I was just talking to my wife. The thing is though, it was like with all the stuff that's happening, I'm saying as far as police crime or whatsoever, I find it very, very awesome that you see all these Republicans supporting cops, because there's the cops need to be supported. I'm like, okay. And I never really got it because I used to live in New Jersey, and there used to be people they used to call, like with a marathon or whatever the case may be, saying, "Hey, can we support? Can we get your support with for cops or whatever the case may be?" I'm like, your cops got like taxpayers' money, right? So why the heck you calling me in order for your cops to go and get a vest or something like that when they have vest anyway? So
You
I
know
used
what?
to hang up on.
You
So
know why?
why?
Because you have people in liabilities that pay the cops extra money. What happened to Ramon?
Mm,
Oh, okay. No, for real. Like I say, one of the books I read is that the cops work for wealthy people, especially wealthy white people. As I said, when I was homeless, I went to the wealthy white area. Okay, West University. Okay, because I know
yeah.
it was safe there. So I read that book. Look back in 2009.
Look like this thing doesn't have an opening on it.
No, you just have to block it.
So
Right.
that's why that they ask for the donations because that money goes to certain neighborhood. The reason why the hood do not have good police officers, the bad ones, because they want people in the hood in the body to kill each other for population control, genocide, eugenics, and then two, it's less funding to keep it safe. They put the corrupt cops there. But the cops in the wealthy neighborhood, they are paid good. You see what I'm saying? They pay besides getting paid taxpayer money, you got people donating for them services to stay. It's like you pay for security. That's how it is. They get paid. They get paid by the taxpayer money, but you have extra funding to keep the neighborhood safe, so they can employ more officers and get more uniforms and stuff, and make sure it's a neighborhood watch. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's safe. You see what I'm saying? That's why, because like I
Right.
say, when I got my voucher, I was trying to live in West River, but they said you have to be under $900 some dollars. I said, Lord. So they gave us apartments that was not, in certain good areas. Like, what's going on? That's why you hear long, whoa, because I'm trying to make sure nobody come my apartment. Okay, and it's mostly Africans and Hispanic over here. You know what I'm saying? So, and then some Africans and Asian immigrants as well in Eastern. Okay, so point is, it's a mixture over here. So they making sure some we are mostly of color, we rock. But when I went to West University, not too far from River Oaks, where Joel Osteen in church is at, this safe. I remember going to Walgreens. I said some prayers, somebody don't steal my stuff. Not far from Channel 13 by HEB. You ever been to Buffalo Speedway? Okay. I had my stuff right there on the corner outside of the store, property at HEB. And I used to I used restroom, go run. They made me things. Run. And they know me, and um use the restroom, keep it clean, and then come back and go outside. I used to leave my stuff, talk to the people inside the store. If I get my food stamps turned on, I used to buy stuff, food stamps, if it's gonna give me some money. So it's funny, I felt safe at 2 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm saying? No, you don't feel safe at 2 o'clock in the morning like that. 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. That's what I want to when they got the voucher. But the reason about my experiences is because they make sure those cops in West University and HPD are going to keep that neighborhood safe. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And Galleria, yeah, they been letting go out because of the protests. Because I tell everybody, they keep blaming Lena Hidalgo and trying to put that poor white, poor Mexican woman as the next Harris County judge. No, she's not going to be a judge. Lee Hanago has helped a lot of people, help me myself, you know what I'm saying, in the homeless program, and they're trying to do too. So they're trying to blame the Democrats when actually, no. Ever since Kim or put them cops in jail for what happened to two white folks in the Harder Street case, now they letting low. You see what I'm saying? And then they hit the protest for George Floyd. Now they letting low all the crime go on. That's why they keep calling us for funding. So then, like I told people, I hang up on them too. I said, unless they start acting right, I'll give you some money. But when I read that book, I forgot the book. It's on my Kindle. But a year after, a year before I got home, but they said the police is made for protect the white wealthy class, the white Jewish man. David Goldberg, How to Deal with White People. I got that book on my Kindle, okay, on Amazon. And I remember reading some child 18 when I was working security when I sued and deal with a whole lot of problems. And I was reading this book, and it said, it's white Jewish man. He said the wealthy white class, that's what the police is for. When it comes to people of color who are private, we don't get that privilege. That's why they don't care. When we call laws on somebody, they take an hour or two, or sometimes don't even show up. But if you go to a white neighborhood, they there. You know what I'm saying? They right there. You act food. That's why I mean that Mexican American chick at Starbucks, the manager gave me hell when she took over the place. I had to keep my cool. If she was in the hood, I would cuss her behind all in English and Spanish. And tell her about what I said in self-defense. But in a classy area, you gotta keep it cold. You keep on cold, right? For the white folks.
Yeah,
So
that is true.
Yeah. and I didn't want to lose my spot at Starbucks. That was my favorite before I was home. That was my favorite place to go to. Was use the Wi-Fi. I would do classes online. Not for college like I'm doing right now, but before between leaving college and everything, I would try to make another trade and go get what's it called? You know what I'm saying? And when I lost my apartment, we had a
get out.
We had a what's it called? A manager from Louisiana, a white dude from Louisiana. I heard he was passed for white because he's from Louisiana and Creole. But he was the manager that he didn't have no problem with me there. But Deborah came out, that's her name. So in white neighborhoods, it's safer because the money they put, politicians make sure that they have it safe. In the hood,
one thing I gotta say, like, okay, like in the United States, I can say that there's some neighborhoods, right, which are black and they're and it's real peachy, that people there, they do what they're supposed to do, high class, middle class, or whatever. In those neighborhoods don't have crime, right? So
I will.
And then you got then you have some Hispanic neighborhoods that are like that also. But my thing is that any Hispanic neighborhood that I've seen, like in my lifetime, I'm not saying that I doubt that don't exist, but it's like any Hispanic neighborhood that I've seen or I've been through has like some type of seedy after thing with it, and it's like, and I know what it is because I'm Hispanic, but the thing is though, it's like, okay, you would know the first hand, like, oh, that something's fishy. The next thing you know, and you see like a husband and a wife fighting or whatever the case may be. So I was like, okay, the hood. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm not gonna say is the bad hood, but then it's just like, okay, yeah, you're in the hood. You know what I'm trying to say? Different rules, but still good.
But in El Paso, Texas, I'm not saying there's Hispanic neighborhoods in Houston that's nice either, but in El Paso, Texas, there are nice because most Latino. When I was in Job Corps, there was nice Hispanic neighborhoods. There was the ghetto, Lower Central Valley, but like in East Side by Job Corps on Vista Sword, I never forget because I didn't have, we had to walk on our own. Look at the security tickets to the store sometimes. So I remember when I came to Job Corps, I wanted to go to Family Dollar, and it was so far. I walked. You gonna laugh? So I'm used to in Houston, Texas. There's fences, right, and gates, and I hear the I'm scared of the dog, so I'm trying to look and froze so you can't chase a dog. They have adobe fences. It was a nice house. I'm not lying. Adobe fences. I said, dog, it was tall too. Adobe. You know Adobe is, right? Adobe.
Yeah, it's like how should I say? Yeah, it's like mud brick or something, or clay or something like that.
It was tall, very tall, and I said that people can't jump that dog. So I felt in the neighborhood was safe. You know, they had little Charlie thugs and stuff. Don't get wrong, in El Paso, the Chuckle Town, but in that area,
Right.
it was nice area. Not to in the area, nice area, nice homes. Latinos families. You could have single parents and that too, but you had married families, nice, wealthy, high class or middle class Latinos in El Paso, Texas. I mean, I miss El Paso. Okay, I do in that area. So,
All right. There's a question that I gotta ask you because
what's up?
the only time I've been to Texas was when I was a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and that was Brownsville. So okay, like what is I've always heard stories or whatever the case may be. What is the difference between? Because I've heard like when that clown boy from New York came to Texas. You
Mm-hmm.
know who I'm calling boy, and there was some
Tell Takashi.
gangsters. Well, we call him clown boy because he's
Okay.
non-existent.
Okay, I got you.
Because he's anyway.
He snitched. I got you.
Not even that. It's just that I just didn't. I didn't respect him from the get go because he did a lot of stuff that was not really forthcoming for the culture or the community, whatever the case, whatever you gonna call it. You know what I'm trying to say?
He was
So-
R. Kelly, Latino R. Kelly too. Yeah, that too.
I mean, okay, not like in the level of R. Kelly, but it's like the crime that he originally got convicted for, and before the snitching and everything like that. I mean, certain people called him that, but then he had like a type reputation before that. If anybody on the internet knew, remember back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
You saw like the skinny dude that went up and just did the pedigree on chicks, and people were like, "Oh, how he could do that, or whatever."
Mm-hmm.
That was Takashi.
The pedigree. Yeah. What's it called? What's the pedigree on? What's that?
All right, not the pedigree. Okay, all right. You know the pedigree. It's like a wrestling move with
Oh, okay, gotcha. I got you. Okay,
yeah,
I think pedigree.
I think it was like
I think you said pentagram. Like what? Okay, because I know he kind of demonic. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So he did the pedigree to some females.
Whoa! Dang.
Yeah. So he did this wrestling moves, and people was like, "Yo!" But that was his thing because that's all he did and got paid for and got viral looks or whatever the case may be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one day, I guess he did the pedigree on a female that he thought was 17. So he went up and humped her a little bit, thinking that it was a chick that was 17. But it was his homies that went up and just did what they did to the female. And lo and behold, Takashi got charged with all things, sexual assault.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But the thing is, those sexual assault on a minor. It wasn't like okay, she was with it, but there was illegal, and then the guys who was in the videos went up and or went to jail for 5 years, where Takashi went to jail for like a year or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still like okay, it marked him as a sex offender because of that.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So with that said, and that whole thing with everything like that, I don't see. This is my thing. I don't see why people think that he was mad. Why they were mad at Takashi and everything like that when everybody knew that he was going to snitch. First of all,
well, he said that because the dudes in the blood game slept with his baby mama, but he was already cheating on baby mama, so I don't see how they wouldn't even think in the first place. But you said he went to Brownsville. He went to Brownsville in Texas. you said that that when Takashi now you wanted to know a question about Texas.
Not Brownsville.
San Antonio.
Yeah,
Houston.
because he went to Texas. I don't know what part of Texas he went to, but I know that the Texas Syndicate, whatever, was there waiting for him to get beat down, but then we're trying to beat him down, whatever the case may be.
Texas Syndicate. The gang Texas Syndicate.
No, it's not Texas Syndicate. It's that joint called Take Over Home. Yeah. It was waiting for it to
Houston. You talking about Houston here in Houston? Tango Blast?
Yeah.
No.
I think it was Tango Blast or Tango. I know it's okay. I know that there's two syndicate. I know there's two gangs with T's that they are beefing, right? I guess it's the Texas Syndicate, right? Yeah, they Tango Blast, right?
I worked security at Andy Frame, and we had to stop them from fighting at the Astros game back in 2018. Wow. I had to run like Kevin Costner. Don't run in the movie Bodyguard to get the HPD officer, and white officer walked his ass slow until services got them folks out of there. Yeah. The upstairs of Mid Farm. We said Tango Blast. I said, no, don't mention that. God. Go ahead, bro. I'm sorry. Yeah, who's throwing Tango Blast?
So they were waiting for Takashi because of whatsoever the case may be. This is before he actually got arrested, right?
Right.
So my thing is that with that said, it's very interesting, that certain people are, interconnected, I guess Texas or California, or whatever the case may be. So my thing is that, all right, what, like, in your aspect, since you're 43 years old, what I'm trying to say, because I don't know the different parts of Texas, but you do more than me. What, in your aspect of you being through what you've been through and everything like that, what spurned, these gangs, and I know the Bloods and Crips or whatever that are in the certain parts of Houston. What, in your aspect, went up and spurned that rise in membership, or their own culture, or whatsoever the case may be to be so prevalent in Texas? I mean, the gang culture and whatsoever. Like, in your opinion, what do you think that was so prevalent?
Well, or how we was the murder capital in the 80s.
All right.
A lot of folks, the Latino cop that I got most likely got in trouble that did me dirty 2014, Robert Ruiz. When you watch the video on Channel 11, that's the fool that mistreated me at McDonald's 2014 when I was a victim of a crime. Okay, white dude was trying to do some dirt to me in the restroom, and we got him kicked out. Anyway, let me tell a story. But if you look at the dude that I got in trouble since like last year, and did a report on his behind, and next he retired. That's Robert Ruiz. And in the beginning of the day, they say Houston was the murder capital in the 1980s, right after Joe Torres got killed. Joe Torres was the Mexican man that got dumped in the river, Buffalo Bayou, and it was caught on W by HPD. Yeah, that's you remember we were talking about that when we was in Radicals backstage. Okay, yeah. So 2 years he became police officer, and if you listen to that Channel 11 article, it would tell you that Houston was a murder capital. Which as a little boy, I did not know that. As a little boy, I did not know that. But I remember in 1988 when the crack evidence came in. When crack came in, crack was already, people didn't, because I know in New York, y'all knew what crack was in LA, but Houston always goes slow. Okay, Houston always goes slow. The crack epidemic came in the 80s, and that really started a lot of the gangs and stuff. Yeah, and I lived in the mostly where I'm originally from in the East Side, it was mostly white. They had drugs too, but it wasn't as big. When you came mostly Hispanic, that's when I'm not trying to bring Hispanics from crime. No, it's when white people take them resources when minorities move in the neighborhoods and they become a hood, a bio ghetto, or whatever. They make sure that the property value go down. You're the red line, green line. So that's what happened to my area where I'm in the east side. That I'm reaching. I don't live there no more. So point is, that's when like I said, when I was growing up in the 80s, we made fun of crackheads. You could not be a thug. You know what I'm saying? But when they glamorized the thug and cholo thug in the 1990s, when the rap became gangster rap for private prison complex, greed, that's what made Latino and African dudes and Asians too, some of them as well. Because I know some Asian gaming was in the 90s as well. And some white folks who joined in, like Banging Lil Rock type documentary on HBO. That's what made it big, and that's when if they start living that culture, and then you have like the movie Blood and Blood album. It said when Miklo said go do the Billy Graham ministry, go recruit other folks in other cities and stuff. Where you have gang members coming from California, Chicago, and New York, Atlanta, New Orleans, and they start recruiting their gang. Okay, or our folks in Texas leave Houston and go over there. You see what I'm saying? To LA, New York, Chicago, and then when they run from law or trying to change their life, somehow they could go back into that lifestyle and they would start recruiting here. You see what I'm saying? Because I know a brother, a brother, we went on a bus back in 2002, 20 years ago, and he was from Little York, where Clinton from, right? And he said, then we all asking, why is all that gang member stuff? Because I remember, I hear the brother say, I remember it wasn't like that back in the day. Little Rock is a little southern town in Arkansas. Well, them brothers left Little Rock and went to LA in California. They became Bloods and Crips. So when they came back to Little York, Arkansas, they started recruiting people there. Just like Miklo said in movie Blood and Blood out. Okay, like a Billy Graham ministry. Okay, so that's exactly what they did here in Houston. And you had the crack going on, drugs going on, and the gang culture. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's funny every time I look at that clip, because I don't like that officer did me dirty, commit official oppression. When they in Lee Brown, the brother by complexion, he mixed black and Choctaw. He was a mayor too at one period of time. He was police chief then. It was shocking to hear. He's from New York as well. It was shocking. They said it was a murder cap, because I remember hearing that in 1988 and 89 when crack got really bad. Woo! And I don't forget, it was shooting City on Seas. It was a white lady named Fran Foster, not Farrah Foster, Fran Foster, Channel Twin, such a little Bob, Madonna, Whitney Houston hairstyle. Okay. So she was sitting there with a little dress, her little dress on and heels, stockings on, all professional stuff back in the 80s. And she would make, and most of the reports were those who got arrested for weed, mainly crack. And they mostly show people of color, mostly Africans and Hispanic. You know what I'm saying? So, cops, that's how cops came in. Bad boys.
And that's how the slang, like even my wife, she don't understand it. I'm like, yo, let me put on my wife's beard.
Well, the white beard came from your LAPD. Remember Thomas Yours said, because when LAPD racist cops would go arrest Latino dudes and their white beard, they had the mustard shirt on. That's what white beard came on.
Yeah,
Thomas Yours said it. Because
in New York, we call it wife beaters to this day, because it's like, yo, I just put on a wife beater and that's it. It's like, and then somebody was like, why you call it a wife beater? Because every time you saw cops and you saw a guy that beat his wife, he always had those shirts on. And there's nothing that certain people was like, wow. I'm like, really? I'm like, yeah, we still call it wife beater, because it was like wife beaters and bros. You know what I'm saying? Women that went up and it was women that went up and they wore that tight gyms, that gym joint that just had whatever, those whatever maybe. They just went up and they had on. We just call the women wearing bros, and you call the guys wearing wife beaters.
Right. You talking about the sports bra?
Yeah, sports bros.
Yeah,
We call
they call
bros,
bro.
but yeah,
Oh,
you don't hear
bad.
that. You don't hear that terminology no more. But I'm just telling you of how it was when I was in middle school going to high school. It was like you had bros and the dudes that went up and wore the muscle shirts or whatever.
Mhm.
They call it wife beaters or something like that.
Right. So,
Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. All that's what's going on. And when the 90s and the 80s, when the crack hit Houston, and
right.
you had folks selling it, and it was getting
Mhm.
left and right. It wasn't just people in the hood. You had politicians involved in that shit. Yeah, people.
Wow.
Yeah. Politicians selling crack and involved in drugs. Besides the mayor of DC, remember him down with Oklahoma, where he was saying, okay, and he got caught with that white woman's mayor. Was it Marion Brown, whatever his name is? You know, what I'm talking about the mayor of West DC back in the 80s. He was a brother.
You talk about
And he got caught with crack when that white woman was smoking crack. So yeah, you had politicians involved, you know what I'm saying, involved. Yeah, I bet you had some police involved as well. Dealing crack and stuff as well. So that's why it got bad. That's why you had gang culture in Texas. And when the gangster started getting popular and in music and culture, then you had folks.
I remember that. I did remember that song, man. Gangsta me, I pour one for my homies.
Yes, back in '93. This is for my homies. Yeah, in that gangster lane. Yeah, I had to start singing right there. Back in '93. This is for my homies.
Dead.
Dead.
Gangsta me. And then you saw a whole bunch of dudes in flat tops. I was like, yo.
That was '90s. Flat tops, girl. Yeah. Yeah,
I remember that.
That was 1993.
And then at that time, I was supposed to go to a Snoop Dogg concert with my brother, but for some reason it didn't happen. But I wanted to. I was really feeling Snoop Dogg at that time. I ain't gonna lie.
Right. And I one of my the Catholic churches I belong to, dark skinned brother, dark skinned Creole brother. That was his cousin. The song was about his cousin in California. Yep. When I was a junior night at St. Peter Claver, junior nights at my church, we had a convention in Houston and Doubletree back in 1995, right after Selena had died. Right, Selena had died, and what's called they had the Oklahoma City bomber. And
because when I went to Catholic church, like up in '93 and like around the early '90s or so, it was like, okay, it was like a woman by the name of Miss Boucher or whatever the case may be. And it was like, okay, she always told me that her son was playing like a bookkeeper and stuff, like I guess in that movie called Pelican Brief with Denzel Washington, whatever the case may be. So she was always telling me about all the royalties and everything like that. But then when I went up and asked about that woman, there was like that woman was sick and stuff. So I don't know what the heck happened to that lady ever since. I gotta ask my brother about that. But that lady always was proud about her son being on the Pelican Brief, even though he was just a background character. So therefore that's how you know that certain people have pride within their craft and everything like that. They didn't care if it was like, oh, it was like, well, my son was in Hollywood, so.
But it wasn't like that with the brother, the dark skinned brother that was one of our sponsors for junior nights. He's Creole, and he had family in California, and the song was about "This is for my homies," was about him. He was, of course, his cousin was not in the video, but the people that did the song was singing about his cousin getting killed by the gang culture, because he was telling us back in '95. In our convention, how we supposed to act, not be acting out of line, not be disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? Tell them because junior dollars was for the girls, junior dollars for the boys, right? He tell us young people to not. And he mentioned that his cousin was the one for my homies. I was like, what? Come on, I don't say his name. I say, what? that was your cousin about, in California? He said, yep. He was telling everybody, he said, the song is for my homies. That's actually about my cousin who got killed in gang warfare in California. I said, whoa, small world. So he was one of our sponsors, one that, like, we call it, mentors, people that's watch, like he's a junior, he's a knight of St. Pierre Claver. So they had Leia Zeri, like they had Leia Zeri, he's an African American Catholic, like the version of Knights Columbus. Well, because it do the
Oh
segregation.
yeah, I remember the Knights of Columbus. That was very prevalent when I was being raised out in Gulfport with my aunt and everything like that. You had like a whole bunch of Knights of Columbus area designated areas that they owned or whatever. I guess it was and then you had the Lions International that they had their stuff right there. I mean,
well, we have the Knights of Peter Claver. See, because back in segregation days, you could not join the Knights of Columbus if you have African descent. They integrated, yes, after segregation in, but due to segregation here in the States, and yeah, you have Mexicans when they put them as white. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember going to a Knights of Columbus playing bingo on Telephone Road on the East Side years ago. But no, back in the day, you had to, that we had to have our own. You know what I'm saying? I became Catholic 13, so we had to have our own organization. So we had our own. They had the Knights. I was junior knight from '94 to '96. Yeah. So because I wasn't going to church as much, so they kicked me out. But when I was 16, 17 years old. But yeah, so when I was at the convention, the dark skin Creole brother, he was a junior. He was a knight himself. So we had a state convention for all the churches, in Texas. They didn't have a national one later on. So we had it instead of having other cities, they had it in Houston, Texas in 1995. And he was telling a story. And he was a knight. I thought about joining the head knights, but I didn't join the head knights of St. Pierre Claver. But yeah, you got African American people, African descent, who's in the Knights of Columbus too. But I probably would join when I ever go back to my Catholic faith. I know I'm still Catholic. I don't like how the church is running right now. The Counter-Reformation Catholicism with some Protestant mixture, talking about ideology, conservative. I don't like that. But the point is, that's what's going on. But when I do go back and I start, especially when I do get married, have kids and stuff, I want to be a junior. I want to be a knight of St. Pierre Claver. I don't want to be Columbus because Columbus. I hate the fact they used that man's name. You know what I'm saying? Because St. Pierre Claver was a Spanish priest that was going against the slavery in Colombia. You see what I'm saying? So that's why our organization is named after him. But the white one, you know what I'm saying, is named after, it's integrated now. It's named after Christopher Columbus. And that man was not a good man. You see what I'm saying? Christopher Columbus was not. So I advise people, and they have Hispanics, because actually one of the Latino dudes that went to St. Francis Cabrini in the hood. I met his mama. She's part Navajo and part Mexican. He became
you see that mixture very common like around the southern, like people who are either Navajo or another tribe or whatever the case may be, and then they're part Mexican also.
But again, the El Paso, the Taínos, we call it Tiguas, the Tiguas. A lot of Tiguas is a Tigua reservation. I've been on reservation before. I like going over there, even though it's not all that uppity, just to feel that Native American connection. Because I mean, to Choctaw down the Family Tree, and I was happy to visit a reservation when I went to Job Corps, and I was like, "That's my cousins." You know what I'm saying? So a lot of Tiguas are part Mexican. A lot of Tiguas in El Paso, Texas, and yes, there was discrimination between them two because the Chicanos will mistreat the Tiquas. A lot of folks not know that, and I saw that too, because one of the ladies who was Mexican American did not like Tiqua Native people because her man left her for some Tiqua woman, took her man. I never get.
All right, but I'm just saying, if you actually look at it, right? So a woman. So I'm just saying, just look how stupid it sounds. You know what I'm saying? So a woman is gonna go hate a whole race just because one woman actually stole a man, right? So my thing,
And also they always talk about. Let me cut you off. How they drinking. Because when I was in El
right,
Paso, I was shocked to hear Mexican American people talk about Native American people drinking. I'm not saying Mexicans. There's Mexicans who don't drink either, but people make a stereotype about Latinos drinking a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I never forget hearing them. Yes, them Indians be drinking. They be getting drunk a lot. And I have friends who are Mexican American. They said that their dad was part Creole, so they part African American. And they live. They're from Phoenix. He said, yeah, down up in that area with the Navajos and the Hopi Indians, the American, yeah, in them reservations, they be drinking. I ain't trying to stereotype. They be drinking. I'm like, why y'all talking about my people? And you part indigenous too. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling like you part indigenous too. Native American too. How dare you talk bad about your other race and you Mexicans are part indigenous? How dare? You know what I'm saying? That's part of me too. Like, what the heck you talking about? They be drinking. You have drunks and accents, man, white, like all colors. You know what I'm saying? And when I was at 2010, I was at Stripes, where they don't work there later on, and it's part white, part Mexican dude work there. And after I came from confession, I forget, and I was waiting for the bus, and I was eating food and stuff at Stripes, where I used to work at later on, and it was a Mexican man who drive trucks. He's from New Mexico in El Paso. He drive trucks. I can't stand them Indians. He wasn't talking about Indians like that Latino one was bashing Indians from India. He talking about Native American, right? I said, but ain't you part indigenous, part Native? Yeah, I said, had black and Spanish. I let him know the history. He said, but I don't care. Those Native, they drink a lot, they talk a lot of shit. Nah. And yes, people don't know that Native Americans is the division between Native American people from U.S. and Mexicans. And just like in El Paso, you had Chicanos back in the day who shit on
right,
Negroes. Yeah, just like they had Chicanos, they shit on Africans. People trying to kiss it to white people. It's what it is. It's funny that they mix
right.
with Native American and black too. They don't look white. The ones who look white got all the privilege. So my question is, why would you shit on African people and U.S. Native American people when they're a mixture of those two back in Mexico? That's me.
Right.
hmm Yeah, she said, yeah, she took my man, and I can't say they be taking people man, and they be drink. That's what she was saying. I ain't gonna say her name. If she still work a job call, but she was talking a whole lot. I said, hey, look, I may be African, but I'm Native American too. You know what I'm saying? You talking about my people, and I don't. You look more indigenous than I do. What the heck you talking? I know, cause the Tico woman took her man. I got locked there laughing. Took her boy.
Yeah.
She said,
You know,
Drago, you were there too. She said,
I
yeah,
hear that.
I can't stand them. And then here we go with the drinking stuff. They drink a lot, but we hear all the time about Latinos drinking. And there's brothers who drink too. Because I got some folks in the
Right.
family who are drunks. Okay. I got some kin
Yeah.
folks. One of my cousins.
I know what you're talking about. I'm not gonna say right there, but I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Zacharias, I'm about to wrap it up and everything. You
All
have
right.
any last words?
No, I think. Oh, I was going to ask you a question, but I forgot I was going to ask.
All right.
Yeah, I forgot. Dog, we was talking about the stuff. Ramon was here. God, dog, it was a question I was going to ask you. God, nah, it's okay. You gotta go. I gotta go too. So it's cool.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, it's like sure. I mean, I'm gonna for the whole next week, I'm not gonna be in the United States whatsoever. So I'm when I do come back, I'm gonna have a stream, about Dominican urban movement and stuff.
Mhm.
And I might just well, I guess when I come back and such, I'm going to make a stream about about cultural politics or whatever the case may be. So,
Right.
because
Oh, I got to also
because I'm
say, I'll cut you off.
all
I'll
right,
cut you off. Yeah, it was about Jose Chavez.
all right,
From
okay,
yeah, he's part Dominican. He was living in that area where he was from too.
all right.
You not know that?
Jose Chavez.
Josue Chavez. Remember on the
Jose
game?
Chavez.
Remember he played Malik?
Ye-
He played Malik on the game. The show with Tia Tamara's sister was on there.
Yeah.
Okay, he part Dominican. He's from your area. He from like Mississippi, Alabama. You ain't not know that?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he part Dominican. That's what I mentioned. I didn't mean to cut you. That's also mentioned when we talking about Namizi.
Bronx or Gulf
No,
Coast?
he from the South.
It was
When you was living in the South,
yeah.
not
It
the
was like me. I did it because I knew.
yeah, you know, his dad's
I know it was
Dominican.
like I right. I saw the game, but it was not like I went up and whatsoever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
But I know what you're talking about the game. I just didn't really see that much because I don't really. It's like with certain stuff. I didn't want to go with sitcoms from BET or anything like that. And when I used to tell my ex about that, I was like, BET is not the real furrier for black people. She always used to get angry at me. I'm like, how the heck you gonna go around and talk about black culture when it's not even being dictated by y'all anymore? And me and
Bob
her
Johnson sent us sold it to Viacom. That's why. But see,
exactly. So therefore, it's not being how should I say it?
It's not for us accuracy and people. It's mostly for the white crowd.
Exactly. So therefore, when my ex used to talk about Black Pride and all this and stuff, I'm like, your company's even owned by black people anymore. And then every time I used to watch my Spike channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, I like to, and this was like in the early years when UFC was really trying to get popular. She went up and cut off a whole UFC match. She went up and cut off a whole UFC match that I was watching, so she could go around and watch the Wives of Atlanta. I was like, I don't want to see this crap.
No, that's Bravo. That's Bravo. That's Bravo.
I'm like, yeah, Bravo or whatever the case may be. It was to the point that when I moved back to New York and my mother, she didn't have cable, I didn't want to do anything or associate myself in watching the Housewives or any other reality show, because every reality show within my mental was like, it always took me back to bad memories of my ex, of she cutting off my program. And the only reason I know with the hip hop love or whatever the case is will be articles. But I'm not gonna go sit myself and watch the show because it's all stupid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mona Scott. Yeah, blame Mona Scott. I ain't trying to bring the whole FBA and ADOS, but they bring her up a lot. She's Haitian.
Right.
And she's behind Viacom. But see, folks don't look at VH1, BET, MTV, Viacom. That's who owned the prior press complex. That's why cops act a fool. Because each brother they catch will be who commit a crime or not commit a crime or exonerate. And they do the Latin ones too. They get a check in Washington, in Wall Street. That's why the whole gangster rap was promoted towards minorities. Not rap, clean rap. The gangster, that's why you had Cholo thugs and thugs of Adolf as well, acting a fool because they got witches that be behind closed doors and singers poison that music so we can get into it. So that's why that was in there. But the reason why I brought Jose Chavez because he's from the South. And so now Measy was bringing that up. There are Dominicans who do live in the South. I don't understand how people, and you have people part African American and Dominican like that man on the game. You know, they play Malik on the game. That's why I brought him up because he's really from Alabama or Mississippi. If you go read his bio, his dad is Dominican. And like I said, the girl, like when I was when I was in '99 working at Al's Farmware, she was from Pasadena, Texas. She was born in New Orleans. He's way before Katrina. Yeah, and she's Dominican. Her family from the So they
I mean, if you actually look at it, when I was up in Radical's channel, I went up and I told Nat Measy, like when me and my aunt, the only Dominicans who was there down south at that time was my aunt, my brother, and me, and my god sister, right? So I'm just saying the descended people. So if you actually look at it, my brother, he still lives down there. He got his 2 children and everything like that. So it's like right now, I guess there's more, Dominicans who are moving in the area, but at the time, I'm not. We was like the only ones, and then the other Dominicans, and then in New Orleans, the only other Dominican family we knew. I'm not gonna say their name, but we went to that Dominican family every time when it was Thanksgiving. That was like our ritual. You know what I'm saying? We go there.
Right.
I used to stay at a little dude's house, at a young boy's house, but then he moved. But then it was like every time we always went out there, it was like, it was good, you know what I'm saying? So it was the good days, and that was like first time I knew about a game system, which was the old Nintendo, and then it was the Super Nintendo. That was my first that was like my first game system. I wish I could have been into gaming, but I wasn't. But as I was saying, good night, Zacharias. I'm about to cut this off, so
all right.
And the wife wanted to sleep, so I'll catch you later, bro.
All right, bro.
All right.